Fantastic. Now, how did you find that? Did you find that interesting? How would you have helped them if they came to you for advice on how to help this situation? How would you help them? Would you blame the man? Would you blame the woman? Now, with all clients and all situations, I have a series of different models that you can use to improve people's lives, whether they're single or whether they're in a relationship, whether they're married or whatever. Because when you have a model, you have a formula and a system and a process to follow. And remember, the clients always have the answers to their problems and the solutions. You just need to know which questions to ask them. So I'm going to introduce to you the EDAMS model that I've created. Now what this means is it's broken down into 5 phases. The first phase is E for establish. You need to establish what will be the end result of the goal. Now what you need to ask the client is, what will your goal look like once you've achieved it? So for argument's sake, the man may want the woman to not to be so moody, moaning and snapping at him. But what could he do to help towards that? Maybe he could communicate to her in a better way. Maybe he could empathize with her. Maybe he could just do not talk back at her when she's feeling that unsettling way. So that could be that. The woman also, because this could be asked to the woman as well, what will your goal look like once you've achieved it? It may mean that she wants him to be more understanding, more empathizing with her, be more warm, run a candlelit bath for her, rub her tummy, give her lots of hug, lots of TLC, because some women are quite delicate in this area and they just want a little TLC. So if that's the goal that she wants to achieve and he wants that, similar things like that as well, then they need to decide what the first small thing they must do to work towards it. So now we're on D out of the EDAMS model. And then what you need to ask them is, name one small thing that you could easily do to help you to achieve it. Now it may mean that the man could just sit her down and just give her a hug and tell her, I really love you, but I want to make this experience as positive as possible for you. Please tell me what you want me to do. And she may then say to him, well actually I would prefer if you just every day when I come in from work, if you can just make sure the dinner's cooked and just set a bath for me and we can just sit down and just watch a nice DVD with a glass of wine, I'll be happy with that. Now once you give men those types of instructions, we will do it because we're go focused and that's what we'll be focusing on. So that's one small thing that the pair of them could do. Now the action, they're going to decide that they're going to do that, but the action needs to take place. So the actions need to be taken when and where and when they're going to be doing it specifically. What day, time are you going to take this action? It's very important that they understand when this is going to be taking place. So if she wants it to happen every day 8 p.m, then he needs to know he needs to do that. If she, for example, if he wants her to, for example, whenever she feels that she's feeling a bit moody or a bit snapping, he may want her to identify that and just say to him, look, I know I was a bit snappy today, but I apologize, or could you give me a hug? Or it may mean that when she's like that, she's saying to him, I'm in that place, can you give me a hug or some TLC? And that will be more productive or positive. I'm just giving you some examples that may happen. Now how are you going to measure this? Because you need to know whether or not you're making any progress. Now what progress has been made in it, you need to make it in a journal or a diary. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but this is so powerful. How will you know you're working towards your goal, and how will you keep a record of it? So it's actually going through this, the EDAMS model, writing down what you're going to do, how you're feeling, and how the progress has been made as well. Very, very, very powerful. And also the state. There's going to be times when you're going to be feeling, both your clients are not going to be feeling up for this. They're going to be feeling where there's going to be outside influences that's going to be affecting them, how they're going to be feeling. And sometimes they're just going to be moody, upset. But we need to manage that. We need to have something in place that when they're in that place, we need to get them back on track, get them focused back on the model, get them focused back on their goal. So the state needs to be positive and encouraged, and remind yourself what state of mind you need to be to keep focused at all times. And what will you do when you have days when you don't feel like working towards your goal? What makes you very happy? Music, chocolate, sweets, alcohol, food, going for a jog, going to the gym, going to the spa, having a candlelit bath, whatever it is. When you're in that state and you're feeling that everything's just on top of you, how do you manage that? So that's the EDAMS model. I've just gone through it quite quickly, but on the course, we will go into this a lot more depth, a lot more scenarios and exercises, and also, more importantly, there'll be loads more others that you can use as well, which I'm going to share with you. So PMT, how to deal with it. They need to communicate a lot more. He needs to ask her what she wants him to do, which we've covered. Empathy. I think she really wants him to empathize with her as well. He could do prepare a candidate bath. They could go for walks, lots of hugs, tummy rub, hot water bottle, and don't blame. The both of them mustn't blame each other. When you start blaming, that's when problems start to build up. And don't run away from her. She wants you around all the time because she's going to feel rejected and neglected. Brilliant. So now you've got an idea of the differences between coaching and counselling. So you can use this model, you can use this explanation for your future clients. Another model that we use is quite popular within the life coaching industry is the wheel of life, known as the life wheel. And how that works is basically you find a client and then you present them with this life wheel, which on the outer edge of the life wheel, all the main areas of their life that generally are most important: emotional health, partner, vocation, money, personal development, family, and social and spiritual. Now what this does, it makes the client look at themselves in a way that they can see the areas of their life that they need to work on and the areas of the life that they don't need to sort of work on. And you'll be surprised how many people realize where they are. And how this works is, just imagine this: we're going to coach the client to grade themselves on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So let's use partner for example. Supposing you had this life wheel and it was a single man. Now in the center of the wheel there'd be a dot in there, and that dot would signify 0. And go to the outer circumference of it, where it says partner, on the curved part of the line there, that'll be number 10. Now in between the 0 and the 10, you just put a line going across down, like the number 1, just going down on that particular line, and grade where you are. So for example, if it was a single man and what you're going to be asking them is, where are you now in your life, in his life wheel? So he'd be at 0 because he's single. So then he'd put a line in the center of the circle. Now for example, if it was money, and the person was quite financially secure, then it would be most probably between a 7 and a 10 at the back there, and then you put a line there. And then after that, what you would do, you do that with all the others, which I will go into more depth on the course, and we do that with the others. And what you then do is you draw a line to line all of these up, and then you would find a squiggly line going all the way around, and that will I'd show you where in areas of your life that your client needs to work on, and then working on how they can improve that. Very, very interesting model. I use it with all my clients as well. My coaching methods have also helped many women find the right man for them, while also improving their overall life choices, personal well-being, positive self-perception and sense of empowerment. Now here's one of my clients here. I can't thank Des enough. I originally met my husband at work. However, if it hadn't been for his dating event in 2012, we would never have got together. You see, I thought my husband wasn't serious about settling down, and when he began putting the moves on me, I thought it was because he was just after one thing. However, luck and faith ensured we ended up unplanned at Desi's dating event in our finest attire. I got more than a touch of the green-eyed monster when I saw the ladies making a beeline for him. I got more upset when I later learnt that he had scored a whole host of dates too. Des advised that I would have to tell him how I really felt if I wanted the chance with him, as I had knocked him back previously. I took the plunge to invite him out a couple of weeks later, and it was a great success. Less than a year later, we were married. By Framer, Jess. Excellent. And I was the only one that was allowed to make a speech at their wedding. And yes, they invited me to a wedding. Fantastic, fantastic. Another one, please read this for one of my other webinar attendees. This is a webinar that I held a while ago, a couple of years ago. It actually was in the same year. Like many people, I wanted to meet someone special, but found myself in a constant cycle of short-lived relationships with long periods of being single. At age 32, after never being in a long-term meaningful relationship, I decided I needed to take a look at where I was going wrong. I listened to a webinar by Des O'Connor in September 2012 called Date the Right Partner. The advice that Des gave was fantastic and really helped me look at my relationship habits and how I kept making the same mistakes. As well as listening to the webinar, I also corresponded with Des via email and found him to be very supportive and encouraging. Listening to the webinar and speaking with Des taught me a lot about my attitude towards relationships. I used this knowledge to make changes in my love life and met my current partner in May 2013. By avoiding my previous mistakes, I am enjoying a much more fulfilling relationship. We have been together for 18 months and he proposed to me in 2014, December. There were times when I wondered if I would ever meet the right person, and now I'm enjoying being a bride-to-be and planning my future wedding. Des has a real understanding of relationships and the many ways that people prevent themselves from finding the right person, such as not being honest about what you want. I would definitely recommend him as a relationship coach, as he certainly can help you to find the right partner. Miss SH. Fantastic. And there is her hand there on the right and her partner's hand underneath with her engagement ring on there. Lovely. And finally, this woman, I met her when I was at a business conference, and we had an exercise where you go and you meet somebody that you don't know and share what you do. When I told her what I do, she says, I need your help, I need you. Cut long story short, we had a conversation, we had a couple of coaching sessions, and just listen to what the outcome of when I started to work with her.
Hi everyone, my name's Lucy Johnson and I want to tell you a little bit about my experience using Des O'Connor. He helped me really get my head straight around finding the right partner for me. I'm 29 years old and I'd had a string of fairly unsuccessful relationships and was feeling really disheartened about the dating scene, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't find the right guy for me. I literally had 2 sessions with Des and he helped me think a little bit differently about everything and really worked on my confidence, and I even had a game plan for how to find the right kind of guy. And 5 months later, I'm with a boyfriend who I'm very, very happy with. I have no doubt we're going to be together long term, and it's really, really changed my life around. So I have to say, this is like anything in life. Don't just expect that you're going to meet the right guy and it will just happen. Take action and actually get someone to help you get there, you know? If you wanted to get fit, you'd hire a personal trainer. If you want to find the right guy, you've got to hire the right guy to get you there, and that's Des O'Connor. So my recommendation is just go for it. Use his services and you won't regret it.
Fantastic. So as you can see, I've been walking the talk and I've been helping loads of people find love. But I want to be able to share and train you up on how you could exactly do that. How would you like to have testimonials like this and so much more? So now we're going to go over exercise number 2. So get your pens and papers out. Now this exercise is slightly different to the last one. This exercise is about a single professional woman, and her name is Carol, and she needs help. Now I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of this, but please just watch this short video and then take some notes on how you would help Carol if you was a coach. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Carol, and I'm single. And I'm just fed up with meeting the wrong men. I've decided I really want help from a relationship coach. I know I have my looks to fall on, and I am successful. I own my own home, I have no children, and maybe I can be considered a little wealthy. But it seems as though most men I date, they adore me, but I can't keep a relationship for longer than 9 months. I've tried meeting the men in all the right places, classy venues, you name it. But I just don't understand why I can't find the right man. Please, can you help? I need it fast.
Excellent. So how did you find that? How would you have helped her? Do you know anybody like this? I bet you do. Are you one of those people that are like that? So let's have a look what would happen there. I would ask her, the first thing I would ask her is, do you prepare yourself for your dates? Because she's made it clear that she cannot keep a long-term relationship. Now, I'm assuming now that she's just meeting these guys and it's all excited and passionate in the beginning. It's all lust, but there's no meaningfulness. There's no foundation. And she didn't prepare herself to find out if he was compatible with her values, her beliefs and her goals. So what I would say to her is, what would you really want to know about these men you're meeting? What would you really want to know? She needs to write this down. And then I would ask her, what would you really want to know from him on your first date? First date you're meeting up, plan what you want to know. Would you honestly ask him what you wanted to know? Honestly, would you ask him? And why would these answers be so important to you? So we're reflecting on herself. With coaching, you're asking these powerful questions, your client will begin to open up to you. Now you need to plan in advance to avoid the wrong men. That's what I'd say to her. Because I can see why you're meeting the wrong men, because you just don't have a plan in place. You're meeting up, you're both looking lovely and wonderful, most probably having sex as well, very in the early stages, and then after a while that all fizzles out and then you realise they're not compatible. So you need to plan in advance to avoid the wrong men. So then I'll introduce you to the single woman dating wheel. Exactly the same concept as the wheel of life. And you do the same thing with her here. Approaching men, doing more, past, understanding men, what you want, issues, readiness, confidence. And like I said, we can go over all this on the course, but this basically is an idea that you could go through. You go through it with her. For example, is she confident about, how does she feel about approaching men? If she doesn't feel that she's confident to approach men, then that will be a 0. She put a line in the center. If she's confident, then it'll be a 7, 8 or 9 or 10 up there, that area there. And then you join all those lines all together. And then we can work on what areas she needs to work on. And then you need the questions plans. What are the questions that you could ask is, what are the top 3 things you would like to know about him? Top 3 things. And write them out as 3 different questions. Choose the top 1. That's so important to you. And repeat this for each question and make them as subtle as possible. Not too aggressive and not too blatant. And start to say them out aloud to yourself and in the mirror. I know this sounds crazy, but get them to get into that mindset. Because what they're doing is they're preparing themselves and training themselves. So when they actually do meet him, it flows off. And she's not going to be, oh God, I don't know what to say. And then she starts getting nervous and start getting sweaty and all those things. And then it just all goes pear-shaped. So start to say them out aloud. When you're in the shower, when you're in the car, when you're on the train, just talking to yourself, well, not on the train obviously, but just start talking to yourself about that as well. Ask him, what are your goals over the next 1, 3 and 5 years? This is the best question you could ask a man in a date. Now if you as a woman and she wants to get married in 3 to 5 years and he says in 3 years I want to be, I don't know, sort of business focused, go away with the boys, just have some fun. He's not saying he wants to be settled down, so you would not be compatible with him, with your goals, your values, and your beliefs. Just wouldn't be compatible. So you'd move on. But what some women are doing, they're not asking these questions, or some are hearing that, they don't want to hear it, thinking they can change him, and then what then happens? It goes pear-shaped. So if he says that to you, the opposite of what you're looking for, move on to the next man that wants that. Here's an exercise that you can also do with your clients. 50 things that make me happy. Get them to write them down as quick as possible and identify the areas, the top 5 areas that they should be that makes them happy. And I guarantee you, most of those top 5 they're not doing. And then you look at why you're not doing them. What's preventing you from doing them? How does it make you feel when you do these? And this will have a positive impact on their relationships as well. So I'd list not even the top 5, the top 8, and I explained why you do the top 8 in a second. So then we'd move on to, you think it's gone a bit stuck there? Okay, and then you find out which, there we go, sorry. Then we're going to find out how to work on your dream and which one to work on first. So out of those 50, you're going to list the top 8, and then you put those top 8 in the column on the left. Because what happens is this exercise will make you narrow it down to the number 1. So what you then do is you put the 8, and then those 8 become the top 4, and then the top 4 become the top 2, and the last one at the end. Just like a knockout competition in a tournament, if that makes sense. So then now they know which dream they're going to work on first, then you can get to work with them and how they're going to achieve that. Very, very, very important exercise, and it gets them into in such a good state.